This is going to be one crazy adventure. We are stranded in Mexico. We need a new transmission. We are in the middle of nowhere. We are nowhere near any big towns, and we have to figure out how to get our truck on the road again to get us to continue on the trip.
This is our truck going in reverse. It would appear we have another transmission problem. The truck is stuck in fourth gear. Transmission fluid is burnt, and in neutral and reverse, we go forward. It's gonna make hooking up and towing a lot difficult. We have been trying to earn karma points. We've been pushing people out of sand, helping people get stuck, supporting local Mexican businesses and people, and now we are stuck in Mexico. What should we do, Cabo?
So a little fun today on our way back from Cabo on our scenic drive. The truck went into its limp mode and it wouldn't go into gear. It's stuck in fourth gear, had no power, basically because it was stuck in fourth gear. The transmission started to smell kind of hot. Now we're about 12 miles from the camper, so we had to drive all the way home like that. And when I got home, started to try to troubleshoot a little bit. Now, drive, it goes into fourth gear and stays. And reverse and neutral, both, instead of being reverse going backwards when you hit the gas, the truck goes forward. And when you go in neutral and give a gas, the truck goes forward. So we're trying to find a mechanic. I looked online. There are some potential causes. Most of them, it appears, are internals in the transmission pan, which is going to be a problem. I can't just drop the transmission pan on the beach. I don't have any replacement fluid anyway, but I'm pretty sure that I'll go to Mexican prison for dropping 8 quarts of transmission fluid on the ground. So, not really sure what we're going to do here, but we're trying not to freak out. The biggest problem I see is I'm a little low on rum. So, because there's literally nothing I can do in this spot. So, we're just talking. It's like if we got in a car accident. It happens when people come down here. They figure it out. We'll figure this out too. There's no real reason to panic because it serves no purpose and it won't get us anywhere. Unfortunately, this one might cost a little bit of money, and we'll just have to figure it out. There are worse places to get stuck, though.
So where we are boondocking at right now, it's just a very small village. There's like nothing here. But in the next town over, which is like 17 miles away, I found a mechanic on iOverlander. So I called him, he didn't answer. He ended up calling me back. I asked if he spoke English and he told me no. And so I was just like, okay, gracias, adios. Well, he ended up texting me in English, which is super cool. And so I told him that we were having troubles, but then it's after hours now on Saturday night, and so I don't know when I will hear from him next. I also found a Dodge dealer in Cabo, which is further away, but I think come Monday we have some hope and some options.
So, as if there aren't enough troubles with the truck right now, somehow I've managed to get myself sick. I woke up in the middle of the night, had to throw up. We're talking like projectile strain, hurt yourself type of sickness in the middle of the night. This is the first time we've ever been sick in the camper. This is pretty awful. The fun part about being sick in a camper is we're in a 24-foot box, so I feel pretty bad for Nicole right now because this has been pretty violent and pretty uncomfortable for me. I can't imagine it's much better for her to have to sit through. So I have no energy at all. I've been just a wreck sleeping, and then when I'm not sleeping, I'm spending the rest of the time in the bathroom. This is pretty terrible. I don't know exactly what I got into. We eat the same stuff, so I'm not really sure if I ate something, if I drank some water I shouldn't have, or if I got a norovirus or something. But on top of the truck issues and all the stress we have going on with that, now my guts are trying to come out, and it's really, really terrible.
So I called the Dodge dealer in Cabo and asked for somebody who spoke English and got someone, although I'm not really sure that he speaks very good English. I think that there was a lot of confusion maybe, but from what I gather, he can see us and he recommended that we not drive the truck. So now I'm trying to find someone that can tow the truck, which is proving to be very difficult. I made a phone call to our Mexican insurance company and they were basically useless, and I think it's because of where we are, because we're kind of in the middle of nowhere. We're not in a town, and so there's nobody around. There are tow companies in Cabo, and when I call and I say, habla usted inglés, they say no. I don't really get very far, so it's kind of challenging. I posted on Facebook to see if anybody had any tips. I got a couple suggestions that I'm trying, but I don't really have any hope, and it's proving to be very frustrating trying to solve this when I have somebody that can see us and get us help, but I don't really have a way to get there. Even just dialing the phone has been challenging because I have a US number, but I'm on Telcel, which is the Mexican carrier, and numbers are just not the same. And so Kyle Googled, there's some funky thing where if you see a number, you have to dial this way. If you see one number, you have to dial this way. And it's been kind of a disaster just even getting the phone to ring.
So I'm starting to feel a little bit better, and we've been unsuccessful in finding someone to tow the truck. When we talked to the dealer in Cabo, he said something about bringing it Wednesday morning. We can't find any tow. We can't find anyone to schedule. So I just decided, screw it, we're just going to drive it ourselves. It still goes. The convenient part about where we are is the East Cape Road will allow us to drive at about the normal operating speed on the East Cape Road. So we can take it all the way there. I'm a little concerned with about the last 10 miles. Be through Cabo and through a little bit of mountains. But we're just going to try and go and see if we can make it. I'm going to take a chain with us just in case we don't make it. There's lots of friendly people around. Hopefully we'll find one at the right time. Will maybe take us the rest of the way. And I'm really hoping that I can make it through these bumps on this East Cape Road without needing to stop and deal with my sickness. I am starting to feel a little bit more human now. Have a little more energy. So we're just going to try to take the truck to the dealer, get it looked at, and hopefully be on our way.
You want me to bring the puke bucket?
Let's pass on that.
Any chance you guys can help pull us? We could use you. Well, I saw one behind the building.
So the Dodge dealer in Cabo was of zero help to us so far. We drove the truck all the way there. It's a good 2-hour drive. The service advisor that we met barely spoke any English. He said he spoke English. We spent most of the time in his office Google translating. We were there a good 3 hours. First, when we got there, he went to talk to his boss, which is probably the service manager. They determined that I would need a new transmission. He told me that there were none in Baja or Mexico or whatever, and he said it would be 1 to 3 months. So now we're thinking we might be stuck here for 1 to 3 months. And if that's the case, we'd probably just fly home and come back. This is getting a little ridiculous. But then even on top of that, they wouldn't actually diagnose the vehicle. And so I said, okay. First, they want Mopar's authorization to diagnose, which is totally wrong with how this works. I've dealt with Mopar plenty of times. So I tried to leave the vehicle so that when they get authorization, they could diagnose it. And he's like, well, I can't print any paperwork. So basically, you're just giving me the truck. And I was like, oh, well, I don't really want to just leave the truck in Mexico, even at a dealer, without even a record of it being there. So we left for the day after 3 hours of him saying, I need to contact Mopar and get authorization for him to work on it, which I don't think is right. Now, since we're on the West Coast, Mopar is closed. And I guess we're waiting until tomorrow. Essentially 3 hours of nothing, plus the multiple hour drive there. Plus I get to drive it back again because now it's getting late enough in the day that the rental car places around the dealer were closed. That was originally our plan. Drop the truck, Uber to a rental car place, rent a car, take it back on Mex 1 to our camping spot. Now we have to take the truck back again, back on the East Cape Road, and this truck only has so many trips left in it. So we're really, we need some karma. This is why you don't drive in Mexico after dark. The sun has just set. So if it was later, you'd smash into all these.
We ran into some other people who are having difficulty on the East Cape Road. This Class C motorhome, their alternator died, so this van tried to tow them out, but they couldn't make it up a hill, and so they were anxiously flagging us down to help. And this is what I'm talking about when I mean karma points, because we use our limp ass truck to pull these guys up a hill, and we did, and then they went on their merry way.
So I called Mopar first thing in the morning, Eastern time, and told them what Mauricio had said, which is that I need to be the one to call Mopar and get authorization. And they said, no, that's wrong. The dealer's the one that has to do the repair authorization. And they gave me the 800 number to have the dealer call, which gets into the automated message. And these steps, the buttons they need to push basically to get to the correct person to get authorization. So I sent Mauricio a message. So the Mexicans down here use WhatsApp, and I got his WhatsApp when we were at the dealer. And so I sent him a message, and that way we can communicate in the same language. I translated it to Spanish, and I was like, hello, Mauricio. We spoke to Mopar. They're saying that the dealership needs to call through our authorization. Here's the number, option whatever, option whatever. I texted him at 8:30 local time, 11:30 local time, 1:30 local time. I finally heard from him after that, saying that he called and he's waiting for authorization. So I called Mopar back towards the end of the day, and they have no record that Mauricio has called. Now, they did tell me it might take 24 hours to update. The person I spoke with is actually off tomorrow, unfortunately, but she did say she would put in her notes to call me back Friday to see where things are. But there is zero chance I'm going to let this go a day. We'll never get anywhere if I let it go a day every time. So I will be calling back in the morning or sometime tomorrow. We'll be trying to figure out who Mauricio actually called and what's going on. And we'll try to proceed from there. So we've developed a new plan. We're going to go take the truck to the airport, park it there where it's safe. We're going to get a rental car, and we're going to go basically confront the Dodge dealer and find out what is going on, because he has stopped responding to us. The airport is also very close to the Dodge dealer. That way, when they get their heads out of their ass, they can actually look at it, and we can just go get the truck real quick, take it over to them, and we can get it, the ball rolling to get it fixed. So that's our new plan. Go get a new car. It'll drive us around. We can get food and water and all that kind of stuff. Drop the truck off and go see the Dodge dealer and light a fire under his ass.
We were able to get the truck into this tiny ass spot. Some gentleman helped push since we don't have reverse. And I didn't have my foot on the brake hard enough, and I slammed into this light pole. Oops. But we're in a spot. We're all good. Going to get a rental car.
So we are available today, so there is a standard size. 1045. So my coworker Daniel.
That's worth the $85 a day right there.
Wow, it's so pretty here. Look at all the mountains.
I'm currently stranded. My transmission is dying / dead, and they're telling me they've called for authorization, but you guys are telling me they have not, so I'm trying to get to the bottom of it. I had just contacted someone at customer care who said my warranty was discontinued and then hung up on me. So I'm having a bad day.
Alrighty, sir. I definitely do apologize about that.
So after battling with Mopar yesterday, I've learned that it appears my transmission is only warranted at the dealer that did the work, which happens to be in Pennsylvania. I specifically asked when this transmission got put in if that was going to be the case, because I live in Michigan, not Pennsylvania. I was assured by the dealer and my Dodge customer care case manager that was not the case, that it could be done at any Dodge dealer, but that appears I was lied to at that time. So I've contacted the dealer that did the work, waiting for a call back from them. They're looking into it with their warranty department. Their notes don't agree with what Mopar is saying either. And I'm waiting for a supervisor call back from Mopar. It's supposed to be within 24 hours. I give that a 0% chance of happening. So that's where we are now, headed into the weekend.
So we are not getting anywhere with Cabo or Mopar. So our rental car is expensive, $85 a day from Cabo. We would like to be done with Cabo. We're going to see if we can find a new rental car, and along the way, we're going to go stop at the Mexican mechanics. Rental car numero 2.
We're just collecting cars in Mexico.
This car that we just picked up, we paid like $53 a day, and it's only half an hour away. Here's what you might be thinking. Well, here's what I'm thinking. We have 2 cars. Well, I don't drive anymore, okay? The number of times I've driven in like the last year, I could count between 2 hands. I just don't drive anymore. Kyle drives us everywhere. I have a permanent chauffeur. I haven't driven this year in 75 days, and before that, like only a couple times. I am freaking out. Here we go. I'm driving. Look at me. I'm a big girl. Carl's going really slow for me. There's lots of topes. I got a lady behind me on a scooter that's tailgating me. The story of how we found this rental car company is actually pretty interesting. We went to Los Barriles just with the purpose of seeing, do they have a place there? Because Googling does not help. And so we were driving around and we saw on the side, painted out a bunch of bricks, car rental, information, and an arrow. And so we walked down this dirt road, if that's what you want to call it, and we don't see any sign, building, like there was a lady outside washing a car. So we walked back down to the street, there's a restaurant on the corner, and we asked, and they said, no, it was up there. And so we walked back, and the lady that was washing the car asked us, can I help you? Hola. And so we're like, car rental? See. And it was her. And so it was like, that was it. Like, we didn't sign over any contract. There was nothing. It was just literally, we want a car, automatic. We want to borrow it for a week. She gave us a price and said, come back in an hour. And here we have a car. You gotta watch out for these guys. I see you. So we were walking down the street in Los Barriles. We were on our way to the bank to get money to pay for rental car numero 2. And we just happened to pass this big old diesel truck lifted for sale for like $15,000 and some change. And we were kind of like, what are the odds of that? We go for a test drive. Carl's giddy. Carl now wants to buy this truck. So I don't know what's gonna happen here. Carl wanted to roll down his window and say, "Move!" Well, I'm feeling pretty good about driving. So good that I have been able to film and drive at the same time. Yes, I know I should not be doing that, but it's an addiction I have. It's a serious problem and I can't help it. So we're driving to take the truck to the mechanic. Carl is behind me. And there has been so much craziness on this road, the East Cape Road. We've had cars stopped in the middle, people just standing in the middle today. We passed 2 police trucks, which freaked me out because we haven't seen any police out this way. Then they turned around and I saw them flip their lights on and I started freaking out. I hit my brakes, Carl was behind me. Well, there was another car, a little car behind Carl that I couldn't see that they are pulling over. It's just crazy. I just want to get to the mechanic and get our truck fixed. Just dropped off the truck to the mechanic. He's gonna take it for a drive, see how it's acting. Carl will go with him.
So this will be our 14th night here stuck, and while it's not an ideal situation, for those of you wondering, that is Nicole out there floating in the ocean after she gets out of work. So there are definitely worse places and worse things to have this happen at, so we're making the best of it. It's finally not windy, and she's out floating in the ocean after we went for a little hike. Still a pretty good day, still having a pretty good time here, still loving Mexico, broke down truck aside.
Almost 14 days ago, exactly to the minute, we just got a text message from Mexican mechanic man, Daniel, saying that our truck is ready. So we are on our way to go pick that sucker up. Come on, everybody, move.
We got ourselves a classic Mexican traffic jam. This is why you don't drive at night on the Mexican roads. There's a giant pothole that you wouldn't be able to see, and you never know when there's going to be a whole herd of cows in the street. It appears as though maybe they haven't had cattle guards down here in Mexico yet. So far so good, we've gone 0 miles.
Following Kyle today. I'm pretty excited that we actually get to move the trailer. Although I'm not so sure we're out of the woods, because yesterday our drive picking up the truck was like 45 minutes long, like 30 miles or something. And when we got back, the truck, the temperature in the transmission was 237 degrees. So I'm not sure that this transmission that we got is actually a good one, because the road that we took to get here was hilly, but it was nothing compared to some of the mountains that you have in Baja. So I'm not sure that we're done yet, but we're gonna try to move the trailer today in a windstorm. So we spent 17 nights at this boondocking location, and it was probably my favorite location, but the wind was insane. Look at this, you can't even hardly see the trailer. This is insane. Part of it is because it's so dry here, but the wind is blowing right at us. I mean, I don't even see the trailer. We had like our first 4 days here, there was no problem with the wind, but then ever since then, we had like 2 good days. So unfortunately, even though this place is so cool and, you know, we could put our kayak in or go snorkeling, the best snorkeling, you know, here, we didn't really get out of it what we could have, so that kind of sucked. And then plus with all the problems that we had, it's like we're just drained and exhausted and probably just ready to be home. Like, we've had so much fun here in Mexico, but problems just take so much out of you. And then last night when we got back with the truck, we walked in to the best sound in the world. We ran out of propane. We knew that we were low, but we didn't realize that we were like on fumes. It's just one thing after another. It's getting to be too much. This is a really weird intersection here. Traffic comes from 3 different directions and nobody has a stop sign. And then there's just a car stopped. So you just kind of gotta go slow, make sure nobody's gonna come and hit ya. Carl just pulled over on the side of the road, told me that transmission is at 257, so it is concerning. I don't know really what we're gonna do. Well, Kyle took the truck back to the mechanic today. See what's going on. He thinks it might be a clogged cooler. So we returned the rental car yesterday, and now I am just waiting for Kyle to be returned home by a Mexican taxi driver.
Supposedly the truck is fixed. I'll believe it when I see it, but I have to go get it, test it out first. I found a nice gentleman from Colorado that was willing to take me on a little adventure. It's nice that he's willing to take an hour out of his day so I can go pick up the truck. I'll probably repay the favor with some beers later. Truck's probably still not fixed, so Ready for a stiff drink. That'll make you forget about your troubles. Just got back from the mechanic. He says he took the cooler out, washed it out. It was full of some debris, which I'm not real surprised since I'm on my third transmission now. Got close to 200,000 miles. Could be believable, might not. We'll see. Temperature was down on the way here. I'll take it a run up in the mountains tomorrow and see how it does.
Well, there goes Carl again. For the third time to the mechanic. He took the truck out on a drive in the mountains this morning and it got to 240, which is still too hot. Damage starts occurring at 240. So he's going back to the mechanic. He is getting very upset. The Rojo Gringo is getting very upset. He pretty much came in, grabbed a Snickers and left. So
I never made it to the mechanic. While I was driving around the mountains, it started cooling off. I drove it back to Cabo Pulmo actually and beat the crap out of it. And temperature actually cooled down. It's really hard to take the transmission back to the mechanic and complain it's hot when it's at normal operating temperature. So we're here for a few more days and we're gonna continue on our way north. I was able to find out with the old transmission that I had pulled out, it's from AutoZone. It's still covered by warranty from AutoZone. So really, I just hope that this one will get us home. That's really all I'm worried about, which I'm fairly confident it'll make it home. It's not slipping or anything. It seems to be in good shape. It just likes to get hot. So as long as we get home, I get the other one replaced, put in a new one, and we'll be all set. So this has been a pretty crazy adventure. We were stranded in Mexico. We got a transmission replaced. What a ride. If you take Mopar out of the equation, we lost about a week there. Realistically, the repair itself actually went pretty good. We went to the mechanic on a Monday, and by Saturday, he was done. It's pretty impressive. He charged me a whole whopping $190 to put the transmission in. The Mexican labor is super cheap. I don't think I could have got it done that fast and for anywhere near that price at home. So in actuality, it went better, I think, than if we were somewhere where we were familiar. The only issue was really the stress and the language barrier and, being away from home. But in actuality, the simplicity worked out in our favor. So it's just crazy to think about. It might have been easier to get this done in Mexico. Now, I'm not going to advocate to have my repairs done in Mexico, but I guess it's kind of one of those things. You don't necessarily need to be afraid of a breakdown. Now, our story's not every story, but this one turned out with a pretty decent ending, went pretty well for us, and maybe not anything you really need to be afraid of.